Welcome back to r/LegalAdvice, where people ask questions, get advice, and we get satisfaction. If you are new to my channel, please don't forget to subscribe to join our amazing community, and without any further ado, let's dive right into the stories. And the first one is titled, Accused of Infliction of Emotional Distress on Abandoned Neighbor Kids. For the location bot, this is in Florida. I live in a small rental complex that consists of 4 small houses side by side. It is in a rural area and a lot of the residents are low income. The rent is only $550 a month for a 2-bedroom unit. Almost everyone there are 20-somethings who work minimum wage jobs and deal drugs on the side, so police are not an unusual sight at the complex. Recently, I asked the landlord for permission to paint my front door a zany color and she approved my request. I painted the door and I even put a poster board beside it with a wet paint notice on the off chance someone might knock on my door while the paint was still drying. The painted door will be relevant later. About a week ago, new neighbors moved into the unit next to me, a young couple with 2 children approximately ages 3 and 6. One is a toddler, one looked to be about kindergarten age. Well, 2 days ago I was hearing some activity outside and looked out my window and the kids were playing outside alone. This happened on the same day I painted my door. Unfortunately, their version of playing was to throw rocks at my car, and the toddler had also obviously been touching my door as he had lavender paint smeared all over him. Alarmed, I went outside and gathered the children to take them home. I noticed the neighbor's vehicle was gone. I figured maybe they had a stay-at-home parent situation and the other had the car for work, or maybe they hired a babysitter. I knocked on their door, no answer. I knocked on windows. I went around to our shared communal backyard and tried the back door too. It seemed like nobody was home. So, not knowing what else to do, I called the non-emergency line to the sheriff's department to see if they could locate the parents, and I kept an eye on the kids until they got there. I did my best to clean the paint off the toddler because I was afraid he might eat it, but I couldn't do anything about the stains on his clothes. After about 30 minutes, a sheriff's deputy showed up. I explained the situation in person and handed off the kids, and law enforcement said they would handle it from there. I left after that to go visit a friend, so I don't really know what happened after that. Until I came home and found a hand-scrawled note taped to my door. The note was from one of the parents and it accused me of inflicting intentional emotional distress on the children and themselves, claiming police involvement traumatized the kids and it damaged the reputation of the parents for the neighborhood to see cops on their property. They also said I put the toddler in serious danger because he got into the paint on my door and the paint probably contains lead and I potentially poisoned their kid and that is gonna cost money. They also requested I reimburse them for the toddler's clothes that had been ruined by the paint. To my knowledge, paint in the US does not contain lead anymore, but either way, as soon as I realized the kid was covered in paint, I did the reasonable thing and tried to clean him up for his safety. The note concluded by informing me that the fair thing to do would be to give them a $3,000 cash payment to cover potential medical bills because of the paint incident, damages in the form of the ruined clothes, and for infliction of emotional distress. It said if I didn't pay them by the end of the week, they would have no choice but to take me to court to get what they are definitely owed. The note also said they have a family member who is an attorney who would sue me on their behalf for free, so it would be super easy for them to sue for thousands more if I decline their settlement offer. Should I just ignore this note until I get served with some sort of actual court document? I have no intention of paying them for what I perceive as their own serious negligence, and I want to force them to take me to court over this issue if it comes to that. I had to repaint my door and I also have some minor scratches on my crappy car from the rocks that were thrown, but I was just gonna let that all go and not go after them for damages because they seem like they already have enough problems and my own perceived damages from all of this were very minor. Minor update, so I've been hanging out a bit after work with the guy from the unit on the other side. Most of the residents and of course people who don't live there buy drugs from him, and when people buy drugs they tend to hang out with the dealer and smoke a bowl before they leave. This guy picks up as much gossip from his customers as any hairstylist or bartender does. He said that he heard that the father was at work and the mother was home alone and supposed to be watching them. She supposedly felt overwhelmed and needed a break, so she decided to take a trip to the Walmart about 6 miles down the road to clear her head. Supposedly, she was arrested on some sort of misdemeanor child abandonment charge, and the kid's grandma bailed her out, and she and the child are staying with the grandmother for now because the father is on probation for drug-related offenses, and they want the CPS investigation to be centered at grandma's house instead of where he lives to avoid increased scrutiny on him. But you know, I heard it from a weed guy who knows if all the supposed details are true. If they are though, I feel a little bad that now they may have issues paying rent and I've made bad luck for my landlord. My landlord is cool, she let me paint my door lavender for F's sake, and there's nothing in the lease that says I have to paint it back, and she confirmed in an email that I didn't have to paint it white or something normal at the end of my lease. I already shot her an email filling her in on everything and she doesn't blame me at all, but still, it sucks. She said now that she's aware, she will start the eviction processes immediately when or if they begin to miss rent payments, so she can get them out and get the unit back on the market. Normally, she cuts people a fair amount of slack with late rent payments and rarely even charges late fees, but she only does this for residents who don't make trouble and don't get the cops called on them. Oh well, I'm just hopeful that now they are too busy dealing with criminal court and CPS to have time to screw with me. If it puts the kids in a safer environment, it was worth it. And a user in the comments said, ignore it, but keep close track of your property, keep an eye on your car, and if you have pets, keep an eye on them. People who send this sort of BS letter can also be vindictive and dangerous. And another user said they want the money to hire a lawyer to defend against the inevitable CPS case and child neglect charges headed their way. Ignore them unless you actually get served with a lawsuit. And another user said tell them to grab a beach towel, head to the shore and go pound some sand. If they file actual court paperwork, don't ignore that, but they don't have a case and it will be tossed quickly. And wow guys, I gotta say, in this case I feel really bad for the children because obviously it is not their fault that their parents are screw-ups. I have to say I always have a lot of sympathy for kids that grow up under such difficult circumstances. And I'm curious, would you say that in such difficult circumstances is it the best for CPS to take the kids away, or what do you think? Let us know in the comments. Update to the neglected kids story. So here's the latest. Haven't seen the parents home or anything, but today I started getting phone calls from an unrecognized number on my cell phone. I did not answer the first few and they did not leave a message. I suspect they got my phone number from the community board posted in the laundry room. It's just a bulletin board for lost pet notices, etc. And I had posted a notice asking if any residents might be interested in a community garden project with me in the backyard. At first I thought the phone call was in reference to that, but I figured they would have left a voicemail. Anyway, I finally answer a call and a person tells me they are calling on behalf of their client, my neighbors. I asked for a name and they refused to give me a name and actually said, "My name is not relevant here. All you need to know is that you owe my clients a lot of money. I'm calling to verify our agreed upon settlement of $3,000. You should know that this is a steal, as it will cost you way more if we file in court." I said, "Whoa, hold on, wait a minute. I did not agree to any sort of settlement. I don't know who you are and I will not continue this conversation until you identify yourself." And then they responded along the lines of, "Well, I'm sorry to hear that, lady, and I'm putting you on notice to get ready to go to court." I replied with, "If that is what you people want to do, fine, but file the papers and serve me something in writing. If you call me again, I will consider it harassment and report you to the police." Then I hung up. I'm a little shaken up. Now for some questions. Can they file suit against me without notifying me in writing? I don't want to somehow miss the suit and end up with a default judgment against me for not showing up. How can I be sure when they have filed? And also, is it legal for a lawyer to refuse to identify himself like that? Do you guys think I should stop by the station and file some sort of police report about this so I have documentation of it? I still feel on pretty firm ground here, especially with the responses from you guys on my original thread. I don't think they have a case in court. But I am starting to get more than a little bit concerned about what seems to be turning into a pattern of harassment. Your input is appreciated. Ninja edit, update to my update. So I gathered that original letter after making a copy, made sure my cell was charged and stopped to see the deputy right after work. Luckily he was there. He was all, "Oh hey, great to see you again. Wait a minute, why are you here?" So I told him the story. Then he asked, "Well, can I see your phone logs to record call times and get the number?" I handed it over. Son of a gun! He recognized the number. It was the father. The father is on probation, and the deputy had been in contact with the probation officer and gotten some records since there is an ongoing investigation now. We had a good laugh about that. He told me not to worry, he was going to contact the dude's probation officer. He then gave me his work and personal cell phone numbers and told me I could call him directly if I got more of those calls or any further interaction from the father, and he would drive out there personally and handle it. He also said to expect some contact from CPS regarding the investigation. He asked if he could give his contact point over my cell phone. He said if I was willing to speak to them, we could set it up as a private meeting in one of the conference rooms at the courthouse to avoid the drama of them coming to the property and the neighbors possibly seeing them at my door. That sounded amenable to me, especially the part about not doing it at my house, so I told him to pass the number along and give me a call to schedule it. He said that they would just ask some questions about the incident for their records and it wouldn't take long. So I am feeling pretty relieved and things seem under control. The decent thing about law enforcement in a rural community is that they are usually not very busy. There's not much serious crime here, so they are generally very helpful and attentive. The deputy has been great to make me feel like he's going to back me up if they continue to push the limits, and now that we know it was the father, with probation he's on pretty thin ice. If he fails one drug test, he's got problems. I looked the father's mugshot and arrest record up online, which I won't post here to keep things anonymized, but he has several things like misdemeanor vandalism, possession of stolen property, bouncing checks and possession of methamphetamines. I guess the meth explains why the idiot called me from his own cell phone that he uses as a point of contact with his probation officer. Happy Friday, everyone. And a user in the comments said, "A lawyer would never do that. It was a bluff. Ignore it and carry on. Thanks for the update." I don't know about FLA, but it would be unethical for a lawyer to refuse to identify themselves on a phone call to adverse in my state. That person is definitely not a Florida attorney. And then once again, OP said, turned out to be the father calling me from his own cell number, the one his probation officer gave the sheriff's deputy. Google shows his arrest record for things like meth, which honestly explains a lot. And another user said, "Wow, I saw a quote about being a parent the other day. Being a parent is like taking care of someone else on a whole lot of shrooms while you are on a moderate amount of shrooms." I'm not really confident in my decision-making ability, but I'm pretty sure that you shouldn't be eating a mousepad. You were more of a parent to those kiddos than they have ever had. You're not confident in your decision, even though all of us applaud you for your actions. Now that the police are involved and CPS, the kids will get the care they need. I've never been so glad anyone randomly painted their door purple and ended up calling the police. You did good, OP. Keep helping the police and CPS and the kids. Thank you for what you have done for them. So yeah guys, that is where the story ends. Obviously, OP did not get sued in court by the crazy dad. And if you have watched until here, please don't forget to post some star emojis in the comments and also like the video if you enjoy my content. Thank you so much in advance. This helps my channel out tremendously. And the last one is titled, "Coworker is bragging about filing a false bite report to attempt to have their ex's dog euthanized. Can I help prevent this?" The location is Massachusetts. Sorry if this is a dumb question. I understand completely if the answer here is don't get involved. Still, I had a beloved cat killed by a psycho when I was a kid, so I hate the idea of someone else going through a similar loss. I have a coworker who is a bit of a character, to put it nicely. Recently they've been bragging about how they are going to get revenge on their ex by filing a false bite report. They claim that the dog will be euthanized as the ex is supposedly hasn't paid for a dog license. Edit: the dog is licensed, the coworker is not a reliable narrator. Obviously that is BS, but is there any way this anonymous report will result in the dog being put down? The coworker says they are willing to do it as often as it takes and also planned on filing false dog-at-large reports. They think this is very clever and has bragged about it multiple times. This is despite them knowing that I am a huge animal lover. The best part is the coworker broke up with their ex because the coworker was cheating and the ex wouldn't forgive it. The boss does know about it as the coworker bragged to him about it. This coworker is still on a probationary period and I don't think he's going to keep them after it ends. I figure calling animal control could be a good first step, but I wonder if I'd be mistaken for a friend of the ex's. I just don't want to sit back and do nothing if there's a chance an innocent dog is going to be killed due to this piece of work. I've never gotten involved in a situation like this before and I'm not overly comfortable doing so, but I want to help if I can. Edit: thank you all for your good advice. I called the non-emergency police phone line and they took a report. They were very helpful and said that having such a report on file would raise the standard of proof required for such a bite report to be taken seriously. I also called animal control and they more or less told me the same thing, that they will absolutely take the police report into account and that they will demand more proof than usual from the coworker should they report a bite. The ex has not replied to my message yet, but it is still early, and hopefully calling the police and animal control will take care of it. Edit number 2, the ex got back to me, was not overly surprised that the coworker would do this, but was still pretty shaken. They are going to make sure not to let the dog out of sight and will be getting a copy of the police report as well as vet records to show animal control if they come knocking. They are also considering a restraining order. And a user said, not a lawyer, but I think it is worth calling the non-emergency police line to express your concerns for the dog's safety and the safety of the ex. This is not normal behavior at all, and that they are openly bragging about things like this is deeply concerning. Another user said, I could be wrong, but being at work and in public, she doesn't have a reasonable assumption of privacy. Take a video of her saying that, as I'm not sure a simple audio file would suffice. She could otherwise claim it was a joke / in a private setting. Update to the dog story. Glad to say I've got a happy update. The coworker was indeed terminated the day her probationary period ended on 7th January. I was not working that day, but apparently she just stormed out wordlessly when told. The ex has filed for a temporary restraining order and is working on a permanent one. He's also installed home security cameras and carries a copy of the police report and a one-page vet record showing the dog is spayed and vaccinated. The dog has also been to obedience school and they wrote a letter saying she has not shown any human or dog aggression. Police and animal control are very good around here. They assured us both that euthanasia is an absolute last resort in any case and that they would require extra proof from this coworker should she report anything. Additionally, with the restraining order, the coworker can't be bitten by the dog without violating it, and the department says that they don't allow totally anonymous reporting. You can keep your name secret from the dog's owner, but not the police / animal control. So, the dog is safe, the coworker let go, and the ex is forewarned and forearmed. I would call it a win. Thank you all for your advice and support. And you know guys, not even mentioning that coworker is obviously a piece of crap, but still, why would you be so stupid to brag about doing something like this and then not expecting that someone will report you? Some people are not just evil, but also just plain stupid. And they absolutely deserve what is coming for them. And guys, unfortunately, we have already reached the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed today's stories, and if you haven't already, please also go to patreon.com/ripeyoutube, where I upload exclusive Reddit videos starting at just $3 a month. This is a great way to support me in case you are interested, and the chance for me to become independent from YouTube revenue. Thank you so much for watching, please don't forget to subscribe and like the video, and I hope to see you again tomorrow.